Shalom, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rukal Kadash, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rukal Kadash, Brakatam. I think I said a couple things twice. Anyhow, I also want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth with sincerity. And a shout out to Yakim that's out there in the four corners of the earth pushing this truth. So as you can see in front of me, Esau, the so-called white man, the terrorist, now bitching and whining about the car fire, which I don't feel the least bit bad for you goddamn Edomites, which I'll show later in this video, what you fucking terrorists are actually doing in Syria and Yemen and pretty much all across the globe. You sponsor terrorism, you are the terrorist. So I don't feel the least bit bad for you when calamity strikes. So this comes right here out of Reading. Another fucking whining fucking goddamn Edomite. Fucking terrorist.
In the background, you say, you don't got the news. You don't got the news. So a lot of these things that people told me about, they seen from the news. I didn't see a TV for two and a half weeks in there. So how are they supposed to know about it? They don't have a TV in there. You know, as I understand that, you know, they don't want, who wants to watch the fire? They just, you know, just space them and burn down the house. But they don't give no information, so you're just sitting there and you're getting more irritated at the system. A system that you watch on TV that's, oh my God, Hurricane Katrina, you know what I'm saying? That you're supposing is oh, they have to get this down. I know for me, I don't think I ever had PTSD, but afterwards, yeah, I had moments, you know, in there, you know, afterwards at the shelter because I didn't know what to do. I mean, I ask a question, they don't know, and it's hard. It's hard to deal with it all.
And this video was put up by another brother, just got it from his YouTube channel, man. And this is the ignorance of our people. Here it is on the Good Times show. And they're actually reading out of the book of Revelation, chapter 1, verses 13 through 15. But she'd rather keep Caesar Borgia up anyways. And she tells her son, oh, well, you could just keep up the true image of Yahushai. And they don't even use the name Yahushai in there. But, yeah, just during Black History Month, you know, knowing that the Jews were, in fact, Negroes, knowing that the Son of the Most High was a Negro, but yet would rather still worship their love guru, Caesar Borgia. This is why the Most High is going to destroy you, two-thirds.
Mama, couldn't we at least let Black Jesus hang alongside?
Forget it. The only Jesus I know is him, and the one thing he don't need is a partner.
Mama, how do we know Jesus wasn't black? He could have been from the lost tribe of Israel. They were supposed to be black.
I bet they were. If ever people were lost, we're it. I bet they were. If ever people were lost, we're it.
Now just hush up, both of you. This picture has been in my family for as long as I can remember. When I was a baby, I don't know what I saw first. My mama, my papa, or this Jesus. Now, he's the one I know and love, so let's close the subject. Jesus was black, the Bible would have said so.
But it does say so.
What are you talking about?
I read about it. It's in Revelation chapter 1, verse 14. I read about it in Muhammad Speaks. It says, his hair is like wool, and his eyes are like flame of fire.
Well, Lord have mercy. It sure do say that, don't it?
And see, Mama, look at that hair, like wool, ain't it? And look at them eyes, red like fire.
Yeah, they sure is. Judy, how come you decided to paint this?
I don't know. All of a sudden, I just had divine thoughts on my mind.
And for JJ, that's a first.
What, having divine thoughts?
No, having a mind.
I guess I ought to be grateful for JJ having Jesus on his mind in any color.
Then we can hang him on the wall, Mama?
Well, now,
Please, Mama.
All right. But just for Black History Week. After that, he comes down.
So here these maggots, these Edomites are all preparing for the... And it's already made landfall. When you see flooding underneath houses and shit, you know that it's already made landfall. And this is exciting because we're going to see Esau get punished. And, yes, of course we rejoice in the calamity of Esau, the so-called white man. He's a fucking terrorist. He's terrorizing the world. So take a look at this clip here. And... yeah, man, this Hurricane Florence, man, it's also going to destroy the wicked two-thirds. We pray for our camps, the elect of us that are actually teaching this word.
Hi everyone, I'm Sean Calebs reporting live from Wilmington, North Carolina, as Hurricane Florence begins to really have its effects felt on this area. A few things about this storm. It is a massive storm, firstly, and it is also moving extremely slowly. There are millions of people who have been evacuated. There are massive concerns about widespread flooding that could cause billions of dollars in damage, and officials with federal, state, local governments have all been very clear that this is not a storm to be taken lightly. They fully expect this is the kind of storm that can bring the loss of life. It's impossible to overstate just how concerned authorities are about Hurricane Florence. Firstly, let's talk a bit about its size and the way it moved in to this region. At one point yesterday, it was a Category 4 hurricane. That is the second most powerful hurricane on measurement, but its winds dropped down somewhat significantly. Right now, it is only expected to be a Category 2 hurricane, but I can tell you the wind is blowing strong enough that the rain actually stings now as it hits my face. But even though it's losing a bit of wind power, it is growing in size and now extends down south into South Carolina and is threatening to go into Virginia as well. I want to show you over here just a bit. It's going to be very difficult to see right now at this hour, but right down there is the Cape Fear River, and it has been rising steadily throughout the day. Authorities are concerned that this counterclockwise spin can come in as the storm surge comes and blow all this water back up and it cause widespread flooding where we are right now. We fully expect this boardwalk where I'm standing on right now is going to be completely swamped within a matter of time. The storm is moving so slowly. Yesterday at this time, authorities thought the teeth of the storm, the worst part of the storm, would be hitting this area. It's simply not happening. It's moving so slowly. The winds are still gusting. It's not hurricane force winds. We're several kilometers in from the coastline. Yesterday we were on a barrier island, the kind of thing that is just going to get swamped. Let's talk about that storm surge that's going to come with the storm. They're talking somewhere between 4, possibly even 5 meters. Okay, so I'm 2 meters tall, so it's going to be twice as tall as I am. So you can imagine it's going to hit the second floor of houses. It's going to cause all kinds of devastation. Secondly, the hurricane force winds, usually a hurricane, once it makes landfall, it moves in very quickly. This one isn't going to do that. Florence is going to sit over an area and just dump lots of rainfall on the area. So the hurricane force winds will be hitting buildings for a significant amount of time. It's going to be a lot longer than your average hurricane. So even though many buildings were built to withstand winds of somewhere of hurricane strength, 200 kilometers an hour, it's going to be a lot worse. So it's going to be very difficult to see if any of these buildings are going to be able to withstand it. And where we are right now is a very low-lying area. If we would stand out here throughout the storm, obviously we would be in a great deal of danger, but we're actually staying at this hotel right here, and we're going to be able to go up into there throughout the night, and then tomorrow there's higher ground on the other side, so we'll be able to report safely from there. But there are millions of people who have been evacuated, and anyone who did not heed the warning, it may be too late to go out right now. Emergency authorities have said time and time again that if people wait too long and then make the call that they need assistance, it's going to be impossible for the authorities to get to them. So those folks are simply on their own. That's one thing that we have heard repeatedly from the authorities. And also, there's been a great deal of discussion about climate change. What aspect of climate change is playing into all these violent storms that have really hit the world this year. Let's take a look at some of the weather. The fires that have been out west in the United States. The smoke has blown all the way across. Been seen in the midwestern states of the U.S. There have been fires in Greece that have claimed dozens of lives. Fires in Sweden. There's been massive flooding in the south part of China as well as Vietnam, and India went through some very violent monsoons as well. Massive drought in parts of Africa, including South Africa, that is suffering through a historic drought. Now, just this past week, the UN Secretary General had an important speech on climate change and talked about perhaps it is the greatest threat that the Earth is facing right now. And he believes that climate change has a great deal to do with all these violent storms. He's calling for world leaders to step up and find a way to tackle all of these challenges. It was just 3 years ago that President Xi Jinping and then President Barack Obama led nations around the world to sign the historic climate peace accord in Paris. At that time, there was so much hope. The goal was to keep global temperatures from rising more than 2 degrees centigrade in the next couple of decades, and that's going to be important since the Industrial Revolution, and that's going to be important if they're going to try and keep temperatures under control and keep storms and global climate change from getting out of control. But the U.S. famously pulled out of that agreement. Virtually every other nation on Earth has agreed to it. And secondly, the United States and a number of other wealthy nations were supposed to contribute to a fund, something like $100 billion, to help developing nations wean themselves off of fossil fuels and come up with renewable energy, whether it be wind or solar. Well, Donald Trump isn't going to pay into that fund anymore, and the fund is grossly underfunded at this time. So there's a great deal of concern that these developing countries are just going to simply have to depend on coal and other oil and other fossil fuels, and that certainly isn't going to help the effort to keep carbon dioxide out of the air, keep greenhouse gases from building up, and fuel global warming. But once again, let's talk about where we are right now. We are in Wilmington, North Carolina. Walk down this way just a bit, show you a little more about this boardwalk. Wilmington, North Carolina is one area that is basically right in the path of the storm. The eye of the hurricane is expected to pass over sometime, perhaps even mid-morning. That's how slow the storm is moving. The winds are going somewhere around 170 to 200 kilometers per hour. You guys can go ahead. It's fine. We've got other folks out here working as well. The only people out in this weather right now. Do you care if we get a shot of you real quick here just to show people what's going on? Just the media, but the only people out in this weather. Many of the media are staying at this hotel where we are right now, kind of trying to ride out the storm, and the live shots come virtually around the clock, so people come out and do their live shots, try to update folks. But again, here on this boardwalk, we fully expect it to get swamped by this storm. It is expected to bring anywhere from 40, 50, even 60 centimeters of rainfall. That is going to cause massive flooding throughout this area. And not just in the coastal areas. As the storm surge pushes up these rivers, you're going to see flooding throughout the tentacles of the rivers and the streams throughout the Carolinas. South Carolina has declared a state of emergency, as 4 other states have as well. And again, the major concern is the loss of life. But we know this is going to be a costly storm too. There are some U.S. authorities who believe that this could be the most costly hurricane in U.S. history. What so much is at stake? First, there are a lot of crops. It's late in the season. The number 1 and number 3 tobacco growing crops in the United States are North Carolina and Virginia. And these areas are going to be inundated with rain, the widespread flooding. It could destroy crops. Secondly, a lot of livestock, especially pork. Hogs. North Carolina is the number 1 pork producer in the United States, so farmers are trying to get all the livestock out of harm's way as quickly as possible. But they're also leaving behind a major concern because they keep manure and other chemicals on site. So once these farms begin to flood, all of that is going to pour into these rivers and into the other byways. And then once the water does settle, all these harmful elements are going to be dropped in communities as well. So people are worried about environmental degradation from this storm as well. But this is the storm that's going to stick with this area for such a long time. People have been warning residents throughout the Carolinas and parts of Virginia that this storm is coming and that they need to take heed and get out of the way of it. But after hearing it for 72 hours, some people believe, well, maybe it's not going to be as bad as authorities say. So there's some people who've indicated that they're going to try to ride out the storm, try to do as best they can through this situation. Right now, it's not going to be that difficult because The rain is not coming down in such a dramatic fashion. I'll take you down here to the river and give you an idea of what's going on. I'm going to have to ask our photographer, Peter Stoles, to be extremely careful going down here. This is an area where boats routinely pull up and fuel, but right now, obviously there are no boats. Everybody's gotten the boats out of the area as quickly as possible to make sure that they don't tip, go over. We saw that happen a great deal leading up to this storm. So now you can see just a little bit about the Cape Fear River. Sort of white caps, and it's moving very rapidly right now as it moves down. This dock that we're on right now is actually a floating dock too. You can see there are connectors around these poles, so as the water goes up, so does this dock. But at some point it's going to be up so far that it's just going to be completely overwhelmed by the water. And again, let's talk about these hurricane force winds that are coming in. Winds 170, 180 kilometers per perhaps. Homes were built to withstand that here in the coastal area of the United States. That really changed after Hurricane Andrew back in 1990, I believe, is when that storm hit. They did so much devastation to the southern part of Florida that they changed building codes and made structures, they had to be built in a much more strenuous fashion. So you can tell when a hurricane goes through an area that hasn't hit in a long time, the homes that were built before Andrew and those after, because those homes are able to ride it out. But nothing is going to be able to withstand this storm surge if authorities are right. 4 to 5 meters, 2 stories tall. As the water goes in, it could simply blow in, and then as it comes back out, suck all that debris back out. We've seen that before. It happened during Hurricane Katrina along the Mississippi coast. It claimed so many lives. We saw it last year in Hurricane Harvey in the heart of Houston. Areas that weren't even in floodplains were completely underwater. So that's the concern for areas here. People don't know what areas could flood. Obviously the low-lying areas are the ones that are more precarious, but there are other areas that are at risk, and people may not have flood insurance. Again, that's going to add up to how costly this is. This is going to take a bite out of the U.S. economy, but there are some companies that are actually going to do well at a time like this, things like the Home Depot and Lowe's. These are sort of do-it-yourself stores that sell plywood, lumber, nails, and people are going to be needing that a great deal after this storm. Well, right now, it's not nearly as bad as it's going to get. It's going to be a very anxious evening for the people here in the Carolinas. They expect winds to pick up. They expect this rain to really start pummeling the Carolinas. And now that it has started, it isn't going to stop. We'll update you when the situation warrants it, but it is a very dangerous storm and one that is going to haunt this part of the United States, one that could be historic proportions. Sean Caleb, CGTN Live in Wilmington, North Carolina.
But like everything else, as a GMS Dallas and Class had brought up, man, we also pray that Hurricane Florence brings in a flood of people ready to receive this word. Because, man, we're prophesying out there to reach the elect of us. So we pray that this storm also brings in a flood of those that want to repent and get out of Babylon. Because this destroying wind is nothing to underestimate. This is it. You know, this is the time to repent, because this place, Babylon the Great, is about to be destroyed.
Meanwhile, the Carolinas are bracing for Hurricane Florence to make landfall. It's already forced over 1 million people to evacuate in order to escape flooding and a massive storm surge. RT's Sarah Montez de Oca joins us live from Alexandria, Virginia. Sarah, how are you holding up out there?
Hi, Scotty. Well, I'm here in Alexandria, Virginia, where it's typically flooding when it storms. For now, D.C. is out of harm's way, but unfortunately, millions of people are not. Now, the winds from Hurricane Florence have dropped from 140 miles per hour to 110. It weakened overnight to a Category 2, but still a very lethal storm. Now, given that it will linger for days on the coast, it could have anywhere from 20, 30, up to 40 inches of rainfall, and it is expected to hit early Friday morning. Some meteorologists say that even if Florence goes down to a Category 1, it could still cost billions of dollars in damages, and as many as 10 million people's homes could be affected. Now, the governor of North Carolina, Roy Cooper, said in a statement, catastrophic effects will be felt outside the center of the storm due to storm surge as high as 9 to 13 feet. Now that's a second story of a house. Tens of thousands of structures are expected to be flooded and many more by rising rivers and creeks. Now millions have already evacuated and it looks like they're all working together to prepare for this storm.
Mandatory evacuation a couple of days ago, so we started to seek shelter. We showed up here and we've been here for today will be third day. Time like these, you know, we need to lean and depend on each other. Life is already hectic outside of here, so different people coming in from different places, and there's people are kind of not sure about things, but if we have faith and we believe, things can always get better.
Him and her Dr. Watts.
So airlines have already canceled 1,000 flights and counting. Stores like Home Depot and Lowe's are acting as emergency response centers. They have trash bags, water bottles, and generators, and they've had over 1,000 trucks delivering the supplies to them. Many gas stations are running out of gas. As of this morning, there were still some that had supplies, but your best bet is to check with an application called Gas Buddy for the most accurate information. According to Duke Energy, one of the nation's largest power companies, about 3 million are set up and expected to really experience some power outages that could last for weeks. Now, Scotty, we have to remember that this is always a large farm area agriculture that is right in the storm's path, and that could affect hog producers, which the last time we saw this was during Hurricane Floyd back in 1999.
Well, Sarah, let's talk about these evacuees. Are they being given any idea of how long it's going to be that they're going to be away from their homes, or when they can return?
We're thinking maybe perhaps by next week, but that's what people are afraid of. And people spoke out and said that they're afraid of the flooding and the aftermath, that they've already been there for 2 to 3 days. So it could be a week, it could be longer. We'll see how it affects them in the aftermath.
Well, thank you, Sarah, for braving the elements, and you stay safe out there. And for more information on Hurricane Florence, we turn to Dan Koklowski, expert senior meteorologist at AccuWeather. Dan, thanks for joining us on this very important evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, let's talk about right now, what do we need to know about Hurricane Florence?
Well, Florence right now is a Category 2 hurricane with winds of 110 miles an hour to 105 miles an hour. And it may still intensify a little bit more, but more importantly, it's going to become a much larger hurricane. The diameter is approximately 460 miles, so that means that the wind field has tripled from what it was about 3 days ago. So all this wind now is coming on the shore, and so coastal areas are now getting buffeted by tropical storm force winds. Those hurricane force winds, which extend out to about 70 miles or so, will begin to affect coastal areas later tonight. Now, we expect it to make landfall near Wilmington, North Carolina, right around daybreak tomorrow. And so up until then, the winds are going to get stronger, the rain's going to get heavier, and of course, as it moves inland across that area, again, we're talking about a very large storm surge of somewhere between 10 to 13 feet, maybe as high as 15 feet if certain areas get the funneled water. But basically, computer models are forecasting a very large storm surge. So again, we're going to see a lot of places inundated with water for not only just a short period of time, but probably for several hours. This is going to be a slow-moving hurricane when it makes landfall. So that means that all that strong wind and all that heavy rain is going to be over coastal areas and southeastern portions of North Carolina for hours and hours tonight, tomorrow, and probably into tomorrow night as well. In fact, we're forecasting rainfall to continue all the way through the upcoming weekend. All told, some of those areas along the coast there in southeast North Carolina could end up with 2 to 3 feet of rain, and we're calling for a maximum amount right around 40 inches when it's all said and done. And this will spread westward into the rest of North Carolina, and especially northern and northeastern South Carolina as we head through Friday night, Saturday, and probably into Sunday as well.
Well, often when a hurricane comes ashore, you get a lot of other residual storms. They think it might be weakening, but you get tornadoes, you get flooding in some of those areas that aren't even along the coast. How far do you think the extent of those types of weather can be expected as we head out west and even up north?
Well, of course, tornadoes can be spawned very easily in a situation like this, and they can actually develop well away from where the center is. And unfortunately, even though the storm will be weakening, the counterclockwise flow created by the storm can spin up very quick developing tornadoes, and these are very hard to predict when they spin up and spin down. So I advise people, again, be on the alert. They'll be issuing warnings for these, but also be prepared for some very strong gusty winds. We expect tropical storm force winds to extend outward, like in places like Raleigh-Durham, out towards Charlotte eventually, and of course wind gusts could be as high as 40 to 50 miles an hour on the outer periphery of the storm. But the biggest issue, again, is going to be the heavy rainfall. On average, away from the coast, we're going to see 8 to 16 inches, but locally, some places could end up with well over more than that. So we're concerned about flooding. And then when this thing gets into the southern Appalachians, over like upstate South Carolina, southwestern North Carolina, perhaps eastern Tennessee, again, the mountains may enhance the rainfall as well. So we're looking at a potential for torrential rainfall in those areas as well. So if you live in the mountains or are going to be in the mountainous areas this weekend, you may want to have a plan in place where you may have to evacuate that area because of rising water coming out of the mountains in some of those streams.
Dan Kotlowski with AccuWeather, thank you for joining us.
So not only do you have these other terrorists pretty much bracing for impact, you have the military terrorists, which are the main terrorists of the world, also evacuating the area, and I pray that more of their fucking shit gets ruined. You know, I hate this fucking place, and I hate what they're fucking doing. Fucking terrorists.
South Carolina's coast looked serene on Wednesday, but the picture may be quite different on Friday morning.
Hurricane Florence is expected to be a long-duration, high-impact event for much of South Carolina, including areas well inland from the coast.
Officials want coastal residents to leave while they still can, because there may not be any help available if they need it after the storm. Florence comes with strong winds that are bound to topple trees, break electric lines, and damage roofs, even in places well away from the coast.
That's the biggest thing when it comes to hurricanes, is worrying about the wind-driven rain and what could actually be torn off, especially like at the bottom part of your roof and whatnot. It doesn't matter if these power lines are going to come down. It's going to be pretty bad.
North Carolina is projected to be the hardest hit, but officials warn that Florence is unpredictable and could still change course. Coastal residents have boarded their homes and took what precautions they could before heading inland.
Right now it's anxiety and adrenaline to do what we can. Not really fear, because there's not a whole lot we can control at this point, but it's the unknown that we're worried about, and not knowing what's coming and when it'll come and how it'll come.
U.S. President Donald Trump said the government is well prepared for the storm.
We're ready. We're able. We've got the finest people, I think, anywhere in the world.
Just 2 months ago, the Trump administration transferred nearly $10 million from the Federal Emergency Management Agency to the Immigration and Customs Enforcement to help fund the deportation of illegal immigrants. A FEMA official said Wednesday this will not affect the agency's response to the storm.
We have plenty of resources to respond. We have plenty of resources to recover. That has not impacted our situation whatsoever.
Both FEMA and ICE are part of the Department of Homeland Security, and the transfer is legal. But critics object to the transfer of funds right before hurricane season.
Soldiers from the Oklahoma Army National Guard departed today from Muldrow Army Heliport in Lexington, Oklahoma. Soldiers from Detachment 1, Charlie Company, 1st of the 169th General Support Aviation Battalion, will be assisting in rescue and recovery efforts after Hurricane Florence makes landfall on the East Coast later this week. They will be staging in Knoxville, Tennessee on standby until called upon by one of the states affected by the storm.
So individuals that are trapped or stuck and they are exceeding the means of a normal boat rescue or basically on land rescue, they call us in to help assist with those. Looking forward to going out and taking care of the mission and actually knowing that you're making a change in not only someone else's life, but also going out and reaching your hand out to South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, showing that Oklahoma is a helping state. We've always been that way.
The pilots will work with crew chiefs and firefighters to locate people in need of rescue. The crew will use a hoist attached to the helicopter to lower a firefighter down in a basket, seat, or flotation device to the person in need. The rescue member will then make contact and secure the victim to the hoist, and both will be lifted to the helicopter. The helicopter crew will potentially face a variety of conditions.
The key thing to take forward is just to be flexible. Be very, very flexible. Like, everything can change in a matter of minutes, so just got to go with the flow, and it's all about helping people, so that's what we're here for.
Hey, Tony.
And this, of course, is another lesson put up by another brother. And, man, you know, America's based upon fuckery. So as, you know, this hurricane moves in, and the fire still burns here in California, man. Just pray that the Most High destroy this place very soon here, as we can see, though, that it is crumbling down.
Shalom, Akim. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Hakah, Kudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. I'm the brother Walker Barr from the Great Millstone San Francisco Bay Area camp. Okay, and just want to do a quick lesson. All right, going into this article that just came off of RT News, okay, out of the U.S. section. Okay, and I want to grab a couple precepts, you know. Yahweh Ratazai is edifying. I'm going to try to just make it, you know, quick and to the point. All right, so like I said, this is off of RT News out of the U.S. News section. It says, our modern day empire requires a lot of force and lying to our people. Okay, and that's talking about America, the modern day empire, man. You know, Rome 2.0. Okay, said it requires a lot of force, which is the sword, that's Esau's blessing, and lying to our people. All right, that's his other weapon, man, deception, that forked tongue. Okay, says the U.S. effort to preserve its global dominance is a costly endeavor based on threats and keeping the American people in the dark about what is going on. All right. As a matter of fact, let me get it, man. Isaiah the 61st chapter. All right. Because these people are in total darkness, man. You know. And now you got people who are waking up, man. All right. And seeing that America is full of shit, man. They're losing their mind. You know? Isaiah 60:1. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. Alright, that's talking about the men of the Lord. Alright. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. Yeah, man. And the so-called white man, alright, the elites, what they do, man, they put all their effort into keeping the people in the dark. All right, which is not hard. These people love darkness rather than light. They love the lies, man. If everybody was opened up to what's really was going on, man, all hell would break loose at this very moment. You know? It says, for behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. Yeah, so we're the only ones in the know. All right? Because like I said, people who know America's full of shit. You know, you got whistleblowers and all type of other people, man, you know, who be exposing this devil. His own tongue is falling upon him. All right, but no one has the whole truth, man. All right, no one knows but the prophets, man. Okay, the whole truth. All right, that America's what is Babylon the Great. It's Rome 2.0. It's Esau's spearhead of wickedness. You know. It says, Paul, who heads an institute named after himself, says he and his colleagues are trying to alert Americans about the dangers of Washington's foreign policy, which he believes will ultimately be detrimental to American interests. In the Ron Paul Institute, many believe that what we are trying to do is maintain a modern day empire, he said, and that requires a lot of force and a lot of lying too, to misinform people in order for the American people to go along with it. All right. So deception, man. All right. Violence and deception. Esau's blessing was what? The sword. Okay. We go to this in spirit to hit this in Revelation 6 chapter. Revelation 6:4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. All right. By what? That sword. When you go back to Esau, what was his blessing, man? The sword, man. He would live off the fatness of the land. All right, but his main blessing is the sword, man. His military might. All right, his ability, man, to come down upon you, man. All right, and put you into subjection. That's what America has done. says, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. All right, a great sword, man. Hey, and with that, man, it's been more so-called white on white violence than anything, man. World War I and World War II. Okay, America's always in war. You know? We'll go back to the article. It says, Washington's casual use of sanctions or threats thereof is one example of this strong arm approach. All right, they're always putting sanctions on other countries, man. America's always into someone else's business. You know? When here it is right here in America's all-out chaos. There's no order. Okay? It's a war brewing up. It's a civil war coming. It's going to be a war between what the civilians and the law enforcement. Okay? You're going to have troops going to come in. All right? So America's all around the planet Earth. All right? With their foot on everybody's land. With their hands in everyone else's business. Okay? When it's all hell going on around here, man, this place is completely out of order. All right, and the people are in darkness. Why? Because of the so-called white man. It's his deception, man. All right, that's a great gift that he has, man, on the left-hand side, the ability to deceive and lie. All right, it says, Washington's casual use of sanctions or threats thereof is one example of this strong arm approach. Just this week, U.S. envoy to the UN, Nikki Haley, bragged on Fox News that the U.S. sanctions against Iran were suffocating them. All right, so they were putting the press on Iran, man. All right, you know who Iran is? Who Iran's colleagues are? All right, Russia. In the long term, it will be detrimental to the United States because it's very costly and it's undermining our alliances with anybody that we want to work with. All right. He warned people are getting tired of us throwing our weight around and putting on sanctions and believing that everybody has to act exactly as we say. All right. So here it is. This guy Ron Paul is saying that the other nations are fed up, man. The other countries. All right. Even America's allies, man. America put sanctions on his own allies, man, for dealing with Russia or Iran. You know. And America wants everything to go as they say, man. Paul also said he believed the U.S. policy in Syria, which is based on the necessity to oppose Iranian influence there, even if it means allying with groups like Al-Qaeda, was very dangerous. The Trump administration is making sure that we are on the side who will remain very anti-Iran, and that puts us into a situation where we have to be anti-Russia too, he said. All right, so that's the article, man. You know, America's all about violence and deception, man. You know, said who's worked. As a matter of fact, let me go to the scriptures. I'm gonna start with 2 Thessalonians. Chapter 2, I'm going to start at verse 7. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed. All right. The so-called white man is the wicked, and he's being revealed, man. All right. Being revealed to be what? Nothing but a murderer, a liar. All right. A homosexual. Okay. A thief. All right. He's the wicked, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, all right, which are the prophets, okay? Because what's the reason that Esau is going down, man? All right, because the Most High sent his prophets out, man. All right, this word is really what's stirring things up. All right, because ultimately, man, you know, the Most High controls everything, but he doesn't really do anything without putting his prophets out to proclaim it, man. You know? It says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. All right, that's speaking about World War III and Yahweh Shai returning in the midst of World War III. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. Yeah, because everything he does is adversarial to the Most High. With all power and signs and lying wonders. All right, his ability to deceive. It says, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they may be saved. Yeah, those who are not in the light, man, are going to be destroyed. Okay? Because you got our people, man, who trust in this man's his tongue. All right? They believe everything the so-called white man says is true. And really they trust in America's so-called power. There's more Negroes, man, who are hell bound, you know what I mean, and tied on to America than anything, man. It's more of the tribes. All right? It's plenty of the tribes, man, in Esau's military. You know? And that's going to be lead to their destruction, man. Okay? Because everybody's going to shoot missiles on America, man. It's the book of Obadiah. I'm going to just start from the top. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith Yahweh power concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. Talking about Esau, Edom, man. Okay? And Esau, his spearhead of where he pushes his wickedness from, like I said, is Babylon the Great, America. Alright? Through violence and deceit. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that said to his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, this will I bring thee down, said the Lord. And that's exactly what Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah has done. Alright? America they play on the fact, okay, that they play on the fact that of their deceit. Okay? They went to the moon. Okay? They was the first one to rain fire, man. They'll drop bombs. Okay? And what that puts a pompous spirit on all these Babylonians, man. You know? Here it is, man. I was just talking to a guy at work yesterday, man. Alright? Hey, man, and he's butthurt about Colin Kaepernick. Alright? But he doesn't give a damn about Nike paying those heathens in that country, man, 30 cents to make the shoes, man. He don't give a damn about that. It's all about you. You better bow down to America, man. You know? That's the pride of these Babylonians. If these, verse 5, if these came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they have had enough? All right? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? You know? But America, what? It wants it all, man. The elites want it all. The so-called white man, he's not going to be satisfied until he has everyone's spirit, all right, and basically destroys the planet Earth, right along with himself. Verse 6 says, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? You know? And why? Because the Most High is exposing this devil, man. All right? It's uncovering Esau, man. You know? That's why it's nothing but shameful spewing on his glory. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. All right. So even those who are America's allies, just as the article said, man. All right. Nobody wants to deal with the whore anymore, man. Okay. And what's that going to cause America to do? All right. To go back to what it was found on, the sword. All right, result to violence, because that's all Esau knows. It's violence and deceit. You know? And with that, you know, I'm going to wrap it up, man. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Harakah, Kodash. Okay, this devil is exposed. All right? And he's getting ready to come down with his blessing, the sword, man. That's his last result. All right, his first and his last result. He lives by it, and he's going to definitely be taken out by it, man. You know? So a death to the wicked and shalom to the elect.
And here's another reason why I hate you fucking Edomites. I mean, what you're fucking doing with cats. You know, these animals don't deserve what you're doing, but you're a piece of shit, and you fucking ruining the planet, man. I can't wait till the Most High destroy you. Fuck all you Edomites, man. Take a look at this.
A nonprofit organization is suing the United States Department of Agriculture for experimenting on cats. According to the organization, the department has killed thousands of cats for over 30 years. At this time, members of Congress and activists are looking to put a stop to this practice. Here's RT correspondent Ashley Banks with more.
I'm here at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center here in Maryland, and a nonprofit organization is accusing this center of killing thousands of cats. The White Coat Waste Project, an advocacy group based in Virginia, filed a suit against the U.S. Agriculture Department, citing the department wrongfully experiments on cats. As a result, killing 100 cats a year. The documents say these cats were intentionally infected with a parasite that is known to cause toxoplasmosis. This disease, which is transmitted in contaminated meat, can cause miscarriages and birth defects in humans. I spoke to Justin Goodman, the White Coat Waste Project's vice president for advocacy and public policy, and I asked him why would the USDA use cats to perform these experiments.
The USDA has been doing these same experiments for virtually 50 years with very little accountability and oversight from Congress or taxpayers to ensure that the public is getting anything out of this. Right now, the kittens are being used simply to grow parasites for use in other experiments. These cats, when they're 8 weeks old, are force-fed, parasite-ridden raw meat. Their feces is collected for 2 weeks simply to pick the parasites out of it, and then the kittens are killed, even though they're perfectly healthy and completely immune from the parasite once they pass it through their bodies.
According to the USDA Administrator Shavonda Jacobs-Young, close to 3,000 cats have been used in research efforts since 1982. In a statement from the department, it says the Agricultural Research Service, USDA, makes every effort to minimize the number of cats used to produce eggs required to research one of the most widespread parasites in the world. The cats are essential to the success of this critical research. Only cats are found to excrete the environmentally resistant stage of the parasite. Several members of Congress are calling on the USDA to stop this program. Representative Eric Paulson is a co-sponsor of the Kitten Act, which would limit experiments on cats. And he said, quote, "This has been going on for half a century. It's time to bring this type of practice to an end. The basic details of kitten testing have been hidden." I asked Goodman if his organization comes out on the winning side of this lawsuit, what consequences would he like the USDA to face?
We'd like to just see this project shut down. Taxpayers don't want, need, or like these experiments. We're sick and tired of paying for them, and we have a right to know what the government is doing with our money.
Goodman says the USDA can conduct these experiments without using cats. He and his organization is hoping to put a stop to what many people are calling a cruel practice. In Beltsville, Maryland, Ashley Banks, RT.
So while YouTube has also taken down the Syrian state TV channels, I just come to find out that the San Francisco camp, another channel of theirs got taken down. They also took down the original San Francisco camp channel not too long before this, but of course, we have backup channels, but GMS SF Discussion is no longer on there. I just discovered that. So, yeah, man, this famine of the word is coming in quickly.
Psalms 91.
Done. Yep.
Psalms 91 and 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty.
That's right, man. Because we're dwelling in His Word. All right, you know. We're dwelling in the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, man. All right, go ahead. Not in the spirit of this world, okay?
I will say, the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my power. In Him will I trust.
That's right. That's who we lean on, and we have our full faith upon, man. That's who we have our hope in to give us salvation. All right, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, okay, to deliver us through all this hellhole, man. Because guess what? Because that's the one who's bringing it. All right, go ahead.
Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence.
Yeah, surely the Lord is going to deliver His men bring that to the top one more time, please.
It says, surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence.
That's right, from the snare of the fowler and the noisome pestilence, all right? Just like the Lord is delivering us now, okay? From the snare, we was going into from the pits that Esau attempts to dig for the Israelites chiefly, all right? And really for the men of the Lord. You know, because Esau he knows what time it is. He know that's why he's clipping the pages. That's why he got brothers on certain lists. I forgot what it's called, the red list, the yellow list, I think the blue list. You know, Esau has all this on the books. That's why he has Project Megiddo. You know,
like for instance, I believe they got like this brother IP address down, man.
Got to.
You know what I mean? He created a page instantly. You know what I mean? They flagging it. They fucking with his computer. You know, just all type of shit, man. You know?
That's right.
Esau, he's mad, man. You know, he wants to stop this truth from going out. But hey, he could come with the famine of the word. You know, the famine of the word is coming, but he could shut all this down, man. The word has went out throughout the four corners of the earth.
That's right.
You know, that's why all this destruction is coming, man.
That's right, man. Okay. That's beautiful. That's right.
Psalms 91:4. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night.
Yeah, and I believe the scriptures say that wisdom is the defense. You know, Ephesians the 6th chapter, man. That's why it's important to put on this whole spiritual body armor. All right, that's how we endure. We endure these trials and tribulations. All right.
Escape the wiles of the devil.
That's right. That's right. Escape the wiles of the devil. All right. The tricks of the devil. You know, because he has nothing here but snares, man, to catch you up, to catch your soul. You know. Go ahead, Art.
Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day.
Yeah, we're not gonna be afraid because the expectation of the wicked is wrath. You know. We're hoping to be saved through it all. All right. We know that the Lord is bringing this for all you people. All right. So that he can destroy you. All right. Go ahead.
It says, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday.
Yeah, all these plagues, man. The plagues are just intensifying. All right. Like brothers was going into earlier. They just had it's every year, but they just had a recent one come out about the STD rate is skyrocketing.
Higher than ever.
Yeah, higher than ever, man. Okay. They got incurable diseases. Esau got the Center of Disease Control, where he's testing and cross how do you say cross intermingling different diseases, okay, and he's harboring different diseases that he's been holding on to, okay, diseases of hope, you know. And the Lord talks about he's going to hit this place with the plagues of Egypt and more, man. New plagues, man, because this is spiritually Egypt and Sodom, like the brother was referring to earlier today. All right. Go ahead.
Hey, and the Most High, he set us up to warn you people about it.
Yeah.
Because what did Jeremiah 28:8 say? All right, the job of a prophet, man, you know, prophet before me and before thee of old, to prophesy both against many countries and great kingdoms of war, evil, pestilence. So we doing our job, man, out here just telling the people what's finna come, man.
That's right.
All right, it's nothing but perilous times coming to the planet Earth, especially Babylon the Great.
Yeah. That's right.
So Psalms 91:7, 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee.
Yeah, just going back to going to Ezekiel the 9th chapter, having that mark that the war, which means that exemption from judgment. You know, having those angels encamping around them that fear the Heavenly Father, man, his servants. All right. You know, and that's gonna be going through the time of Jacob's trouble. Hey man, it's gonna be millions upon millions of Jakes dropping dead, man. Okay, the Lord is gonna kill a lot of Israelites here. Hey, 2/3 gonna be cut off in this land in America, man. All right, that's a hell of a lot of Israelites. You know, yeah, that's the judgment that they have written, man. You know, that the Lord has written for them, shall I say? All right. Go ahead, on.
It says, only with thy eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite scriptures, man. Because only with our eyes, we've been seeing the prosperity of the wicked. We've been seeing wickedness increase. We've been having to behold all this wickedness. Hey, man, and Lord's will, we endure to the end. We're going to see the reward of the wicked, man. We gonna see the Lord bring judgment upon the wicked of our people. Hey man, leading all the way up to the wicked Esau, the so-called white man. Ultimately, what? Destroying his whole system here in America, man. You know, looking down from the chariots with this place being on fire, man.
Precept right quick, fish right in. Revelation 15, I'm going to start from the top. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
That's right.
Verse 2, and I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, getting the victory over the beast, which is Esau's system, man. Yep. All right, you know, overcoming all this, okay? You know, cause hey, man, it ain't over until it's over. You know. Go ahead.
It says, and I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire. So John the Revelator seen it. He seen the wicked destruction. He seen the destruction of Babylon the Great. You know, Yahweh Razal, we making it. We'll actually see it when it comes to pass. You know, when it actually manifests.
And they let you know that that it already happened in the spirit, man. It already happened in a different realm. You know, we're just here playing out the prophecies because the ancient prophets, they seen this already. They seen Babylon, you know, and they seen the destruction of Babylon, you know, and they seen the salvation of the elect in the 1/3, man. Right. You know, they seen the story. And they best believe they back here today, breaking it down and watching it play out, you know, just like they seen the visions, man.
That's right. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of the Most High.
Yeah, those who rejected that RFID microchip that Esau is about to make mandatory, man. All right, you know, those certain martyrs that was slain, all right, for maintaining their faith and integrity in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Hey, those are going to be the first men in the chariots, man. Awaiting the rest of the elect, man. Okay, you know, so it's going to be a hell of a scenery, you know. Go ahead.
We'll meet up in the air and it's gonna be on.
Yeah, bro. That's when the fun begins.
Exactly.
You know.
Verse 3 says, and they sing the song of Moses, the servant of the Most High, and the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are thy works, Lord, power almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints.
That's right, man. We're going to be praising Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai for his great judgment, you know?
That's right.
And this is the time that the ancient prophets have been waiting for, man. All right? You know? For all this to be put to an end. For Israel to be, for the kingdom of Israel to be established forever, man. You know? We don't have to deal with this BS anymore. All right,
deal with going off.
Yeah, dealing with the battle, let alone between the spirit and the flesh.
Yep.
You know, having those brand new bodies, man.
Right.
You know. Yeah.
That was it on that.
Back in Psalms 91 and 9, because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways.
That's right, man. So those angels that's encamping around those men, all right. Hey, that's going to be, so to speak, what Jake's guardian angels, man.
Yeah.
Guards you through all your obstacles. Even when Peter, he got locked up, man. His angel released him, man. You know, how much more? It's gonna be divine intervention on the highest level taking place here, leading up to the destruction, man.
Oh yeah.
And that's why Jake faith has to be on a whole nother level, man. We're about to get ready to see some wild shit.
This is a wild ride.
Yeah, literally a wild ride, man. Like the brother's saying, you know, plagues, apparitions, all right. Leviathan, different creatures being released. Just people eating themselves, murdering themselves, doing all sorts of wild things, man. You know.
They say suicide is like number one among the, in the military, like 7 out of 10 kill themselves. That's not a very good ratio.
No, hey, how much more would they gonna wish people, you gonna wish you did that when Yahweh Shai come back, you gonna wish you would have been off yourself, It's gonna be too late though, you feel me? They gonna seek death. Yeah, that's the spirit. Bring that up, that's the spirit. Hey, cause death is the easy way out. Alright, that's some Esau do that punk shit. He lose all his riches or something. Oh man, I'm gonna just end it all. No, the Lord is you gonna have to deal with it, man. You gonna have to catch that hell. You gonna have to catch that hell. Go ahead up.
Revelation 9:6. And in those days shall man seek death and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them.
That's right, man. You're gonna desire to die, but death's gonna flee from you. All right, because the Heavenly Father is the author of life and death. He's the Father of spirits. He get to say, I require His Spirit or not. You're not gonna be able to escape by your situation, man. All right, the Lord is literally gonna torture and torment all you wicked ass people. All right, in different ways. They got that show. I don't know. It probably stopped airing, but pretty much 1,000 Ways to Die. The Lord is literally going to show. It's gonna be brand new episodes every second out here, man. This way, that way. All right.
And the Most High, He's so powerful. He can kill everybody on the planet in different ways.
That's wild, man. And that's the Lord is about to. He's about to show forth His power, man. He's about to show you Alishaya. He demon terrible like power. He's about to show you His terribleness, man.
That's right. Yeah, because there's no fear of the Lord out here
at all.
Alright? These people are so discontinued from spirituality. Think about 2/3 of our people, man. Also, how is the Most High? How is He gonna wake them up, man, through His wrath? Because in that time, you ain't gonna be able to get a credit to what you call Mother Nature, or you know what I mean, all the other shit that they try to give the glory to. You're gonna have to know that this is these works are being done by the Heavenly Father, man, by Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Just as He shook up Egypt, man. All right, He's gonna shake up modern day Egypt, spiritual Egypt. All right, with many plagues. Man, one being those missiles.
That's right.
That was it on that, Manatazah?
Yeah, that was it.
You had something?
I had something.
Okay, go ahead.
2nd Ezra chapter 9 verse 10. For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me, and they...
It's like, can you start off at like 7?
Come. 2nd Ezra 9:7. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works.
And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works. So how are you going to make it on those chariots?
Yep.
All right, by believing and putting in the work for Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, by filling up your spiritual bank account, man.
That's right.
All right, and the cash out is going to come with salvation. All right, and then we're going to live it up forever. All right, but the only way you're going to be able to escape from these perilous times, all right, is through faith and works to match. All right, because what is faith? Faith is dead without works.
That's right. That's right.
It says, and by faith, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils.
It shall be preserved from the sad perils. All right, be preserved from all this destruction that's coming. Continue on, bro.
And shall see my salvation in my land.
They shall see my salvation in my land. All right, because hey, man, us being the hopeful elect, man, we want to be the first fruits, man.
Spirit, yep.
All right,
yep.
We want to be brought back into the land by Yahweh Shai. We don't want to have to come through the loins of the elect. We want to be of the elect. Continue.
And within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning.
Hey, He has sanctified them for Him from the beginning. All right, so what's that? Predestination, man.
That's right.
All right, those who are names who are found in the book of life, man, that were written there from the beginning, man. It was already set for the elect to be sealed and delivered, man.
Says, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways.
Just talking about 2/3 of our people, man.
Yep.
All right, who have abused the ways of the Most High, who don't fear Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, who's not out to please the Lord, man. Continue.
And they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments.
Yeah, they have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. And the Elder Conowalf, he always goes into the word torments. All right, this is gonna be like perilous times, man. You ain't gonna be able, man. You ain't gonna be able to eat. All right, there ain't gonna be no sleeping going on. Ain't gonna be no folly and bullshit going on. The Murph is gonna be cut out.
That's
okay,
right. That's right.
All that's gonna be shut down, man. It's gonna be like it's gonna be worse than any movie you ever seen, man.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Said, for such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me.
Yeah, hey, that's our people, man. You know what I mean? Here it is, they are completely wicked, man. All right? And get something and call upon Jesus, man. No, that's coming from you serving Satan, man. Yeah. You know, and that's your constellation here on this side. All right? Hey, because when you serving Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man, all right, you going to catch hell. You know, there's a balance to it. Okay? We receive gifts, but with the spiritual gifts. Yep. All right? And we maintain in the flesh as well, you know? The Most High, He take care of us, man.
And they that have loathed by law while they had yet liberty.
Yeah, so in this time of liberty, in this time of grace, you know what I mean? Jake just want to be a complete demon. All right? And these people's spirit, man, they know destruction is coming. Yep. But hey, the spirit, that wicked spirit that was within them, man, they just want to party and bullshit all the way up into the destruction. You know, just like in the time of Noah. Yeah. All right? So as shit get worse and worse, man, you know, these people are going to just wax worse in their wickedness. Yep. Just like brothers brought it out, man, in Hawaii when they had that that nuclear missile scare. All right, well, everybody hopped on Pornhub. Yep. You know, goes to show you where these people mind is at.
Says, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not but despised it.
Yeah, they despise it, man. They despise the word of the Heavenly Father, or they're not going to turn from their wicked ways. Okay? Why? Because since can you get Ecclesiastes 8:11 right quick? Yeah. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. Read that again,
It says, and they that have loathed my law while they had yet liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not but despised it.
Yeah, so it's the time to turn back from your wicked ways, as we read just a little earlier. Seek ye the Lord while He may be found. All right, put off those wicked ways, man. Mortify your members. All right, they don't want to hear that. Because so-called white man, hey, this is hell, man. He got you able to do any and everything except for serve Yahweh Shem Yahushua in this place, man. All right. That straight gate, man, that wide gate is wide open, man. You know, you can indulge in anything, chiefly here in Babylon the Great. Hey, but there's a Proverbs 14:12. There's a way that seemeth right to a man, but the end of all the ways of death. We can get this right quick, huh?
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily.
Yeah, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. All right, so you know you go commit adultery just because on the ride home your car don't get flipped. All right, which hey, that's gonna start happening. You know, but just because you know you creep with a man's wife. All right, on the ride home you smoke your blunt. You know you go home and you sleep good. You know what I mean? And because that judgment didn't come speedily. Continue up.
Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully setting them to do evil.
Yeah, therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully setting them to do evil. All right? Let's start with the so-called white man. Okay? These heathens and 2/3 of our people who are of their father, the devil. Yeah. You know? So because the Most High hasn't judged them immediately, okay? Then what, man? Their heart is fully set to just keep going off. You know, just like a nigga in the world, he hit a lick. You know what I mean? He might be into robbing banks or stealing B&Es, whatever. Or he get away with it, then what? He just got to keep feeding that demon. Keep feeding that demon, man. You know? Up until what? He gets destroyed.
Yeah, I was backing up to how you referred to the time of Noah. Yeah. It tells you that the thoughts of men were continually evil. Yeah. You know? That's all they was meditating on was wickedness. They were like, hey man, I ain't getting no execution on me. Yeah. I'm still living and breathing. Doing what I want to do. You know, that's the mentality they had. Why Noah was on the scene? Noah was a prophet, alright? You know? And what? They was mocking them, doing the same shit they doing today, man. That same spirit, you know? Living it up, getting married, and indulging in drinking, eating, all right, all sorts of spiritual wickedness, man, you know, and physical wickedness, man, you know. Yeah. What happened? We know the story, all right. You people know the story, okay? Because it was a well-known judgment. Just like this coming judgment is going to be very well known, man. You know.
Yeah, this is gonna outdo the
hell yeah.
The first Egypt destruction, you know. This is gonna outdo that.
Right.
Finish this up in the
All right, go ahead.
2nd Ezra 9:12. The same must know it after death by pain.
Read it again, Alex. Can you go up a little bit?
Yeah, I go up a little bit. It's 2nd Ezra 9:11. And they that have loathed my law while they had yet liberty, and when as it says, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not but despised it.
Yeah, and the scripture says, whosoever despises the word shall be destroyed. All right, so the Most High, he telling you what the business is. Okay, but you don't want to receive it. Why? Because it's coming from men. All right, hey, but these aren't our words, man. You know, I never thought I'd be out here doing this, man. The Most High, he set us up to do this. All right, he put his words in our mouth, man. To warn what? To warn our people first and foremost. Okay, and to tell all the wicked what's coming to them, man. All right, because this right here is only for the nation of Israel, man, regardless of what people think, man. The shot of salvation is only for the nation of Israel, man. But salvation is only going to be for the elect.
That's right. Said the same must know it after death by pain.
Yeah, so you're going to get it after the Most High put your ass to death, man. You'll get it in the kingdom. Yeah. And that's the mentality that brothers got to have, man, you know? Because we all got, parents, family, brothers, partners, cousins and shit that we was cool with in the world, man. And with me personally, man, I don't give a damn about them, man. You know, I honor my mother and my father, but all that other shit, if you don't get it, then, man, I'm gonna be real with you, just raw and cut, man, fuck you. You'll be all right in the kingdom, man. We'll all be cool in the kingdom. But right now, man, if you ain't serving the Lord, man, you against him, man. If you ain't with Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you against Yahweh Shem Yahushua.
And that's what you the Lord puts you in that spirit eventually, man.
Yep.
When you read about the book, reading the book of Jeremiah, he had compassion amongst the people. You know, he was like, damn, you know, Lord, you gonna, you know, and then after so much, man, you guess what, man? He got in the spirit, he's like, man, fuck these niggas.
As a matter of fact, you get that, Jeremiah 18? Yep, 18
he said, fuck these niggas, man. You know?
It's death to the 2/3, man.
That's what the realization you come to. You like, yo, man, death to these niggas, all right? You being out, you being out here, you're dealing with nothing but demonic ass activity and niggas and demons and heathens, man. You know, it's like,
and once you get to that point, you start to think how about Shem Yahushua. You see that, hey, man, this is real.
This is real.
And this is Isaiah. These are victims of Isaiah 6 and 9. You know.
Yeah. Straight. Alright, this is Jeremiah 18. What do you want?
19 or 18.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Alright, this is Jeremiah 18 and 18. Then said they, come and let us devise devices against Jeremiah.
Oh, this talking about our people, man.
Yep.
You know, our people was out to devise devices against Jeremiah. Why, man? Why? Because he was telling them, hey, y'all going down.
Yeah.
Alright, Jake don't want to hear that, man. Jake don't want to hear the so-called white man's the devil. They don't want to hear America's going to be destroyed. Okay, they don't want to hear that they going into concentration camps, man.
Yep.
You know, they don't want to hear that, man. Really, they want to shut us up, man.
Yeah.
It mostly be our people, be the nigga woman who want to get us off the streets, man. Here's bitches all the way in Michigan, man, reporting the brothers out here.
Straight. It says, for the law shall not perish from the priest.
Yeah, the law shall not perish from the priest. All right, because when we gonna come back to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, hey, fulfill the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability. All right.
Yep.
With all of us being priests under the order of Melchizedek, that's all you gonna hear from the elect, man. That's all you gonna hear from the men of the Lord. Hey, it's repent, man. All right, or be destroyed.
That's right.
Continue.
Nor counsel from the wise.
There's no counsel from the wise. All right, this is the counsel. This is the counsel of the Heavenly Father.
That's right.
You know? Hey, that's why, brother, that's why we counsel with each other. Scripture say, do nothing without counsel. All right? And the man of the Lord, man, he appreciates that counsel. All right? But 2/3 of our people, man, they don't want to hear, man, if you continue to eat pork and continue to eat whatever, you know, your wicked belly desires, all right, it's going to bring diseases and plagues upon you. All right? Why do you think the STD rate and all that is so high right now?
Exactly.
Because all these unlawful sex acts that people are into. You know, but our people don't want to hear that, man. They don't want to hear that the Most High is putting sodomites to death. All right, they don't want to hear the Most High is going to kill little Generation Z babies.
Yep.
All right, they want to hear God is all love. Matter of fact, get Isaiah the 30th chapter. They say prophesy until smooth things, man. That's why they love your TD Snakes, your Creflo Dollars, your Joel Osteens. Okay, why? Because they prophesying that prosperity. They come with that prosperity doctrine.
Yep.
All right, but the time of prosperity, the time of you receiving gifts without knowing Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is over with.
Yep.
All right, because the gifts that are laid up now are for us, man. At the time to come, we're gonna be the ones eating and drinking. According to Isaiah the 65th chapter, we're gonna be the ones taken care of. The ones who you look at is low right now.
Yep.
Can you get that right quick, Munatazah?
Isaiah 30.
Yep, started 8 by myself.
Isaiah 30 and 8. Now go, write it before them in a table, and note in the book that it may be for the time to come forever and ever.
Yeah, for the time to come, man. So the Most High, He had our forefathers write it what? See, it's a beautiful time that we're living in now, man. The prophecies are speaking. Okay.
Habakkuk the 2nd chapter.
Yep.
Make the vision plain.
Yep. Don't tarry, wait for it, because it shall surely come. It will not tarry.
Yeah.
Says that this is a rebellious people.
Yeah, rebellious people. All right, so our people are nothing but a bunch of witches.
Yeah.
Because what is a rebellion? Rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. All right, so you hard-headed jakes, you're a bunch of witches. And what does the scripture say? Suffer not a witch to live. All right, so you got to get put out of that wicked-ass mind frame that you in.
That's right.
It says lying children that will not hear the law of the Lord.
Read that again what you read, bro.
It says this
children that will not hear the law of the Lord, man.
It says, this is back in Jeremiah 18 and 18. It says, then said they, come and let us devise devices against Jeremiah, for the law shall not perish from the priests, nor counsel from the wise.
Yeah, the law shall not perish from the priests. So they said, come and let us. First it was to a point where they was like, hey man, we just don't want to hear it. But then they like, we gotta stop this man.
Yeah.
We're gonna come with device. We're gonna lay hands on it. You can read in the 20th chapter, they smited Jeremiah. Look what they did to the Lord, man.
Yep.
All right. If who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ, if he was all love and all peaceful and all soft, and why they do him like that, man?
Yeah.
All right, why? Because he was in that same spirit that we're in, man. That's why you want to do the same thing unto us. But the Most High, He ain't gonna let you, man. He says teachers will not be moving to a corner anymore, but the eyes shall see thy teachers.
Straight up.
So the Most High got us out here, man. As the brother was going into early, man, we ain't gonna be moved, man, until the Most High put us up, man. Until all this shit gets shut down and all hell break loose out here. So you can shut down the pages, Esau. You can continue to be a damn demon, or we gonna make more pages and push out more videos. Or up until the Most High pull the plug.
That's right.
It's back in Isaiah 30 and 9. That this is a rebellious people, lying children that will not hear the law of the Lord, which say to the seers, see not.
Which say to the seers, see not. All right, so we're the seers, we're the prophets.
Yeah.
Okay? They say to the seers, see not. Continue.
And to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things.
No pictures, man.
No pictures.
Try to sneak take a picture. Continue, bro.
It said, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things.
Yeah, prophesy not unto us right things. And what is right things, man? The destruction of America. That's right. All right? Hey, man, Yahweh Shai coming back, man, hey, to rule in righteousness. That's right. All right, but 2/3 of our people don't want to hear that. They want to hear smooth things, man. Okay? They want to hear, man, hey, Trump don't get impeached. You know, man, Monkey Boy, he got a shot at coming back into office. Or whoever the hell, they will probably want a black woman as president next. Yeah. You know, that'd be great for 2/3 of our people. All right, that's what they want the doctrine to be. All right, but we're here to tell you now that's not what's coming, man. No, but like the scripture says, 2nd to the 15th chapter, sword, famine, death, and destruction.
Yep.
That's what's coming, man. What's written within the book, Lamentations, mourning, and woes.
Said prophesy deceits.
Yep. Prophesy deceits. And that's why even your local false prophet, your local preacher, man. That's why he even got a Cadillac or something, man. You know, in his little church, man. He used to be a pimp, now he a preacher. Why? Because he prophesying deceits, man. He know how to tell the people good things. He come two scriptures, man. Speak about some haters, and y'all break bread, give them all your offerings, man. Because why? Because he come with that prosperity doctrine. That's what our people want to hear, man. You got more, bro?
Yeah, a little bit more. It says, get ye out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us.
Yeah, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. That's why you see niggas walk by and literally plug up their ears. You know? They want the word of the Most High to cease, man. You know? But it's not, man. Okay? Up until the famine of the word comes.
Yeah.
Okay? And tell you in Hosea 5 and 15. Yeah. Alright? That you gonna seek the Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai in the time of your affliction. You gonna seek him early, man. Alright?
But you niggas early. Hey, CPT.
Yep. Color people time. Yep.
Your early is late. You know.
Jake love procrastinating.
Yep.
Last minute shit. You know. But you can't do that with this knowledge.
Straight up.
Yep. Get Sirach 5 and 7 right there. Just behind that point.
This is Sirach 5 is chapter 5 verse 7 says, make no tarrying to turn to the Lord.
Yeah, make no tarrying to turn to the Lord. Alright, you don't come into Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai on your own time. Alright, hey, but as a man of the Lord, man, you know what I mean? Hey, the Lord, he gonna bring you in it, man. He might have to jack you up. Or he may have to take some things from you. Or, you know, some brothers just come on into it. You know?
It says, make no tarrying to turn to the Lord and put not off from day to day.
Yeah, put not off from day to day. You know, put that off from day to day, man. Hey, to you Jakes, man, who be watching the videos, you better get out there, man. Get to your nearest camp, man. All right, you better get more in tune, man. They try to get in the secret place of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, because the destruction is coming, man.
That's right. It says, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth.
Yeah, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth. All right, like a thief in the night.
Yep.
That's how it's gonna come to those who ain't watching. You know, it's gonna catch you people off guard, man.
That's right. So when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction.
Come with the point of suddenly, you know, woman with child.
That's right. That's right.
1 hour, the whole place is taken out.
Yeah, that's it. It's all
and everything's leading to that last hour.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Everything's leading to that last plague.
Yeah. That's right.
Beautiful point.
That's beautiful. It says, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed.
Yeah, in thy security thou shalt be destroyed. Alright? So while you secure, okay, you wanna sit up in the house and you know what I mean, scoff on the scoff the videos, go on World Star, whatever type of folly or mirth you into, alright? Keep your mind off of hell. You know what I mean? In that security you're gonna be destroyed. You know? That's why you want us to stop preaching, man. That's why you want us to stop prophesying. All right, because you think if you could take the men of the Lord off the streets, okay, if you can stop the Holy One of Israel to cease, that the prophecies won't be true.
And it said, finish it off. It says, and for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance.
Yeah, you're gonna perish in the day of the Lord. You have something after that?
I got something. Zechariah 13 and 8.
That's the one.
And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die.
Yeah, 66.6% of our people.
Yep.
All right. And when I first came into the truth, that blew my mind, man. 666. Why? Because they're the father of the devil, man.
Yep.
You know?
That's right.
Jake ain't trying to turn back from their ways, man. You know? So what? They're gonna be cut off. They're gonna be cut off and die, man. All right. What? They gonna get it after death by pain, as the brother read earlier.
Yep. Because if you read in the old stories, man. All right. Ancient times, the book of Judges. All right. Shoot, leading out of Egypt. All right. Jake was always going off, and we always going captivity. There was always niggas that wanted to do their own thing, man. So the Lord ain't letting you niggas hold us back anymore, man. The Lord is gonna let you niggas die in America, and He's gonna deliver His faithful servants in that remnant. You know?
Right. Continue on, bro.
It says, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein.
Yeah, but the third, that's the elect and all the believers.
Okay.
All right, those who believe upon the doctrine, upon Yahweh's doctrine that we push.
Okay.
All right, because this isn't our doctrine, this isn't of us. All right, this is the words of the Heavenly Father. This is the Most High's doctrine. All right, so all those who believe upon Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is gonna be what? Delivered out of these perilous times, man.
It says, and I will bring the third part through the fire and will refine them as silver is refined.
Oh yeah, but that's twofold, man. We're being refined now. Through what? Through the afflictions that we catch. All right, through this hell, because this is hell.
This is hell.
Contrary to popular belief, man, this is literally hell.
For sure.
All right, but hey, we're gonna be brought through what? Through the physical fire. You know, like the brother Kanak quoted earlier, the righteous shall scarcely be saved. All right, so simultaneously as the missiles coming down, hey man, the elect gonna be getting beamed up. And then what? In the chariots, they're gonna see with those blue bodies, they're gonna see the destruction of Babylon the Great.
See the reward of the wicked.
See the reward of the wicked. Kind.
And will try them as gold is tried.
Yep.
They shall call on my name, and I will hear them.
Yep, because that name is key. Yes. All right, that name, don't let nobody tell you anything different, man. The name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh. He exists. All right, and the Son's name is Yahweh Shai. He is salvation. He's the deliverer.
And I will say, it is my people. It is my people power.
Yeah, it says my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my power. All right? We can end it with that.
It's Sirach 17 and 10, and the elect shall praise his holy name.
Yeah, and the elect shall praise his holy name. All right? It's plain and to the point, man. All right? So anybody who's telling you anything different, man, is obvious they're not of the elect.
That's right.
Okay? The elect are going to call upon the name Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right? Because it's a strong tower. The righteous run into it and are safe.
Yep.
You know? You got something else, brother?
I got one quick one. Psalms 50 and 15. And call upon me in the day of trouble.
Yeah, call upon Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai in the day of trouble. Continue.
It says, I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me.
I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. All right, so we out here to glorify Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. You know, that's what we set up to do, man, to glorify the Heavenly Father while Yahweh Shai.
That's right.
You know? Hey, you know, with that we're going to say, Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
Call Halam Yahweh. Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Ba'Shem Double honor to the apostles and elders of great millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the elect. Hey, and death to the wicked.
Death to the wicked.
Shalom to the elect. Still death to the nigga one.
Yeah. Oh, it's really cut.
And so I'm just going to end this with the last vagabond, as followed up by the Syria news, the stuff that they don't want you to know about. The reason why their channels were taken down is because it's showing the atrocities committed by America, Babylon the Great. Yours truly, the Israeli state Levant, America and its allies, mostly Israel and America. And when I say Israel, I'm talking about the bastard that dwells in Ashdod, the least of their flock, Amalek.
With so much going on around the world in general, every single day to discuss, it becomes difficult to pick and choose which stories to put into this show every day. You know, much of which going on out there is designed to pull your attention away from things that those pulling the strings may find to be the most important. And it is indeed difficult to continue to pick those every day. I often get messages and emails from people asking me to focus more on things going on inside the country. And believe me, I do take those to heart. But I think it's important to point out, at least as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, the things that I try to cover every day, some of which are about domestic policy and things affecting us within this country. But the point is that all the things that I discuss do affect us within this country. All of it, including the things going on overseas. And in my opinion, in most cases, those are the most important in regard to how we're perceived around the world and how our tax dollars are being spent and how that in relation affects what's happening in this country. And in the point being that those tax dollars could in fact be spent on the very things that are happening in this country. The reason being that I point this out is because I do focus a lot, especially lately, on what's going on overseas. And I wanted to point that out. And now today, in fact, I do have a story directly related to what's going on in this country about 5G. So make sure you stay tuned all the way to the end, which we'll be discussing that story. But I felt it important and pertinent to point that out for those. Trust me, I do hear your calls for things that are happening within this country. But understand that everything we discuss in Syria, in Yemen, our allies, Israel, Saudi Arabia, allies with the U.S. oligarchy, directly affect our daily lives. And that's very important to understand. For the first story of the day, I want to make sure and touch on the first couple stories today are slight follow-ups on things that we've discussed. Not necessarily breaking news, but things that I found incredibly important to preface what else we're going to discuss today. The first one coming from Mint Press News, written by Whitney Webb, always doing an excellent job, entitled 17 Years After 9/11, U.S. Counts Al-Qaeda Among Its Allies in Syria, Yemen, and I would add in other places as well. This is a very important article, something of which I touched on more than once in my 9/11 special, as well as before this. But this is very important to understand, and I felt extremely important to reiterate, even after 9/11, the reality of what that statement actually means. So, less than 2 decades after the attacks of September 11th, the U.S. government has now effectively allied with Al-Qaeda, the Al-Qaeda terrorist group, that it has long blamed for executing and planning those attacks. Despite the U.S. illegally invading and occupying Afghanistan and Iraq, to name a couple, and used the lies behind these actions to begin the years-long war of terror as a means of allegedly countering al-Qaeda and its affiliates, Washington has long since been exposed for making deals with and protecting and arming al-Qaeda in countries like Yemen and Syria. And it's important for that to really resonate with us in regard to the topics we're discussing every single day on this channel, that they are now effectively cooperating with them. And as Associated Press has confirmed, mainstream media, which it shouldn't give it any more credence than what I'm saying, but for some it does, actually cooperating with al-Qaeda in Yemen. It's important to understand that. Now, they effectively have just simply changed their name over the years in an effort to manipulate the average person from understanding what they still are. The U.S. was working with al-Qaeda, and that's really nothing new when you understand its history. It's only just kind of now breaking its way into the mainstream groupthink. And I would argue, due to the efforts, tireless, ceaseless efforts of the independent media and those of you supporting them. Back in 2016, an al-Nusra Front commander told a German newspaper that when the al-Qaeda-linked group was besieged by Syrian and Russian forces, quote, "We had officers from Turkey, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and America here. Experts in the use of satellites, rockets, reconnaissance, and thermal security cameras that help prevent the group's defeat." Now think on that statement in regard to the recent discussion of 200 UK-US troops that were trapped, reportedly trapped and caught in Idlib. And think about that and what they may have been doing in preparing there with this al-Qaeda-held area. Now, when asked specifically whether U.S. officers were present back in 2016, this officer of al-Qaeda, the al-Nusra, ultimately one and the same when you really understand the history, this commander stated that, quote, "The Americans are on our side," end quote. Now, of course, you can take what he says with a grain of salt, as anything we should be questioning everything we see. But this is just one of many, many things we have in front of us to show that this is, in fact, the case. Now, a year later, the U.S. again aided al-Nusra by removing the group from Washington's terror watch list, despite the fact that it is an al-Qaeda branch. Again, something very important for us to recognize, that they'd made the effort to remove them from the list. And there's a lot of reasons for that. The removal took place after al-Nusra Front changed its name to Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the group we're talking about today in Idlib, al-Qaeda, following which the U.S. declined to add the group's updated name to the terror watch list, despite the State Department literally stating in a press briefing that this was just a ploy by al-Qaeda. This group is not added to the terror list today. Now remember, the group we're talking about is the group the U.S. government still maintains today. We're the ones behind the 9/11 attacks. So the U.S. government puts on a grand show of disingenuous patriotism and never forget presentations for those who lost their loved ones on 9/11, all while openly working with the group that they claim killed those very loved ones. Think about that for a moment. Think about what it takes to do something like that, especially in regard to someone like Nikki Haley, in regard to the discussion of Syria today, and the lies disingenuously and disgustingly being forced onto people's consciousness by Nikki Haley and many others. And I think that topic is very important for us to really grasp, that they're currently supporting the group that they shed these crocodile tears over on the memorial for 9/11. Now, in regard to Nikki Haley and these horrendous comments that she's making in the next story, coming from antiwar.com, this one entitled, "Haley Threatens Dire Consequences for Iran-Russia Over Syria Offensive." Now, knowing all of this that we just discussed, all the connections and everything, it is especially despicable that Nikki Haley literally said on 9/11 in front of the United Nations that Russia and Iran would face dire consequences if they continue to back a Syrian military offensive against al-Qaeda in Idlib. Well, of course, she calls them rebels, but as we have repeatedly pointed out, the State Department themselves have stated repeatedly that it is in fact a al-Qaeda stronghold.
In Idlib province, look, Idlib province is the largest al-Qaeda safe haven since 9/11, tied directly to Ayman al-Zawahiri. This is a huge problem.
And I know I've showed that video more than once, but it's important for people that may be new to this channel to really understand. Just like we talked about the State Department saying that the Al-Qaeda switching their name was a ploy, here again is the State Department saying exactly what the White House is continually standing against. Interesting to understand that. Now, Idlib is, in fact, by the U.S.'s own admission, before changing their claim to suit the current agenda, as is their routine, the last major Al-Qaeda enclave in Syria. And taking it is seen by Syria and its allies as effectively ending the Syrian war. The U.S. has insisted that they oppose any move against Al-Qaeda in Idlib. This is clearly defending the terrorist group, the culprit they claim for 9/11, and now once again stating unequivocally that it is no longer just about chemical weapons, but now just any attack on the terrorist-held area. And the next article coming from South Front, always doing an excellent job in regard to Syria coverage, this one entitled, "Now U.S. Threatens to Punish Syria for Any Attack on Idlib." Something we've been keeping up on. This was slipped out there early by Heather Nauert and others, but now it's roundly being pointed out by all of them. Trump, the administration, Nikki Haley, Heather Nauert, the state, all of them saying point blank, if anything happens, there will be repercussions. Very important sidestep to what they've been saying from before. So on September 12th, in an interview with Fox News, Nikki Haley claimed that U.S. and its allies would address any attack on civilians in Syria's Idlib province, not just a chemical attack. And she said that any attack that hit civilians in Idlib would be dealt with by the U.S. and allies. Of course, throwing in the civilians claim, and they're basically meaning, in their words, that any attack, knowing that this is a terrorist-held province, would indicate in their eyes an attack on civilians. Haley also warned Russia and Iran of using chemical weapons, of course. Quote, what we told, she said, quote, in a weird way, what we told, the Syrians, the Russians, and the Iranians was, well, twice, we have warned you not to use chemical weapons. Twice you have used it, and twice President Trump has acted. Don't test us again, she says, because I think the odds are very much against them. And we're very just bad grammatic, just her overall bad English in her statement nonetheless. Regardless, she's putting forward the same thing over and over and over. And you need to recognize this is the same thing every day with nothing really changing, reiterating, and now also saying, well, and just any attack in general. She was referring to the two previous alleged uses of chemical weapons by the Syrian government in April 2017. And these are important to understand, too, that these both incidents that she's referring to have, in fact, been debunked. This one by Theodore Postel, the MIT chemical weapons expert, debunks official narrative. That's the 2017. As well as the one she's referring to in Duma, where we know that Robert Fisk, as well as many others, have concluded that there was no attack. Regardless, she's continuing to say that these two things that we know, and of course, again, I always point out that Mattis himself has said, yet we have no evidence to support those claims, but she continues to say that they do. If you need any other evidence than that, I find that staggering, but, always do your own research. But the reality that we know that this wasn't the case, and yet she still puts this forward as a fact is very, very revealing. And she says those which prompted the U.S. to carry out the airstrikes on Syria. She also claimed that Syria, Russia, and Iran are not interested in a political situation, a solution in Idlib. They have shown, quote, only the actions of cowards interested in military conquest. Of course, in her eyes, that's them trying to take back their sovereign territory that is illegally occupied by U.S. and its following crowd. Interesting how that is the coward actions of military conquest. Again, always pointing out that it's essentially them putting what they're doing on somebody else. The cowardly military conquest is the illegal occupation by an invading force. Very revealing. She astoundingly, in addition, accused Damascus and Moscow of claiming that civilians are terrorists and then attacking them, which has literally become the U.S. standard for bombing overseas. As we pointed out many times, Whitney Webb has done numerous articles where the U.S. literally now is just kind of labeling everyone in a given area that they want to attack as an enemy combatant. Even civilians refusing to leave their homes, as we've documented, which is why, even by the CIA's own admission, as many outlets have pointed out, Glenn Greenwald is one, Whitney Webb is another, that over 90% of casualties from drone bombings are in fact civilians and unintended targets, yet they continue. How is that even the case? It's astounding. And she says Russia and Syria do this without providing any evidence to back up their claims that these people are terrorists. Which is, again, another point you could add here, that she knows they've presented evidence. Maybe not proof in your eyes. It could be false evidence. But they have, in fact, presented evidence to the UN and directly to the United States, which we have pointed out. So the fact that she has the nerve to stand up and say that they have provided no evidence is a blatant lie. A bald-faced lie, knowing they have presented it. Maybe not proof in her eyes, but evidence, in fact, has been presented. And again, she's simply lying. And in fact, very easily debunkable. Disprovable that she is, in fact, telling a lie there. It blows my mind. Of course, the head of the Russian Center for Syrian Reconciliation said that, quote, a large shipment of toxic substances, accompanied by 8 representatives of the White Helmets, was delivered from the village of As to the settlement of Sirikib, to a warehouse used by the militants from the Anar al-Sham group to store weapons and fuel supplies. He continues to say a part of this shipment in unmarked plastic barrels was later transported to another militant base in the southern part of Idlib in order to stage a false flag chemical attack and subsequently accuse the government forces of the use of toxic agents against civilians. That in itself, with the things they presented, the evidence of that is presenting evidence. You could claim that they're lying, you can claim it's manipulated, but that, among many other things, as we pointed out, even Syria has presented to the UN themselves, is in fact evidence. It's not very hard to see how absurdly these people are lying. Completely standing, and the reality too, that this is again one thing that they're saying that they're doing, when in reality it's the US. Putting forth claims based on anonymous officials with absolutely not a single shred of evidence to back up their claims. Interesting how they're continuing to run with this same Nazi propaganda narrative idea of accusing them of that which you are guilty. Very classic and very easy to see through. And of course, we can move on to other discussions of U.S. allies and the things that they continue to cover up while lobbying false claims at people they want to invade. This one coming from Mint Press News, entitled, Civilians Flee to Yemen's Harsh Desert as U.S.-backed coalition steps up attacks on Hodeidah. Even in the face of everything going on and all the claims of civilian deaths and war crimes, in fact, stepping up with direct and immediate involvement from the United States. It's astounding that this is continuing, but yet civilians are being, these are people fleeing for their lives and still being targeted by the U.S.-backed coalition. The U.S.-backed Saudi coalition, including the UAE, has been waging a scorched earth campaign to advance to the center of Hodeidah, leaving civilians fleeing to the harsh desert to seek reprieve. Now, we pointed out Hodeidah, the reason this is the focus, which they've already admitted to, is a very important geostrategic point. For many different reasons, one of which, that once, if and when the Strait of Hormuz is closed, the port of Hodeidah on the other side is basically the only other route to bring oil out via water, via ship on ports. And of course, they need to control this for that exact reason. And they're still trying, despite all of the accusations of war crimes. It's unbelievable. Now, at least 30 civilians have been killed or injured in a barrage of ongoing airstrikes that began last Sunday, targeting a restaurant, a flour mill, and a bus station in the area of Kilos in Yemen's southwestern Hodeidah province. And just last Thursday, the Saudi-led coalition launched a massive military offensive against the Red Sea port city of Hodeidah, which we reported on then. Coalition warplanes and battleships targeted several densely populated neighborhoods in the city, civilians, intentionally, including the area of Kilo 16, and areas adjacent to the airport, killing civilians and forcing others to flee. Over 200 airstrikes and rockets hit areas adjacent to this area on Saturday and Sunday alone, as they were fleeing for their lives. Clearly, again, focusing on that they are highlighting civilian infrastructure to punish them, as we pointed out numerous times, which I'll back up even more in just a moment. The next article, which is it's horrifying to see that despite that this just happened, we are now seeing the U.S. continue to back these groups. This one coming from Anti-Media, entitled, U.S. puts rubber stamp of approval on Saudi slaughter of Yemeni civilians. Mike Pompeo John Bolton, Mattis, Trump administration entirely, smiling, colluding with these people, if you will, to use their term, the very people openly, actively targeting civilians while they lob accusations falsely at other countries. Very revealing. So as local journalists in Yemen reported, one of which is Hussein al-Bukaidi on the ground, that over 15 civilians, and as I understand the numbers are actually much more than that now, but this is over 15 civilians were killed in Saudi airstrikes in the port of Hodeidah on Wednesday. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo officially certified that Saudi Arabia and the UAE, whose 3-year assault on the country has been made possible by U.S. support, directly and on the ground, are doing all they can to avoid civilian casualties, claiming that that's what they're doing. Mike Pompeo literally stated, quote, "The governments of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, are undertaking demonstrable actions to reduce the risk of harm to civilians and civilian infrastructure resulting from military operations of these governments. Yet we're literally watching them as they directly target civilian infrastructure and civilians." And how does he take into account when we have somebody like Mohammed bin Salman literally saying that they want them to shiver when they hear the name Saudi Arabia and vows to literally continue targeting children? They think you guys are stupid. They think that you cannot do your own research, that you are unwilling to take 10 seconds and simply do your own due diligence to see that this government of Saudi Arabia is actively, openly saying outright that they are attacking civilians, and yet they want you to believe the opposite. It's an insult to your intelligence. He literally said they're going to continue, not start, but continue targeting children, as in the bus full of 40 children, and the following bus full of 22 children. It's horrific, truly horrific. And on that same note, as if that wasn't enough, another story coming from today, entitled "Another Coalition Strike on Yemen Civilians." A civilian bus occurs the same day U.S. affirms it stands by Saudis. Another bus. In addition to the funerals and weddings and civilian infrastructure and hospitals and everything else we're talking about, yet another bus while he's standing by them, full of civilians, many of them children. Truly horrific. So just as the U.S., in typical fashion, continues lecturing countries like Syria, Russia, and Iran over severe human rights violations, including allegations of everything from launching barrel bomb strikes on civilian areas in Idlib to chemical attacks to sensational spy poisoning ops in the UK, all of which has been wildly debunked. The U.S.-Saudi coalition in Yemen has in fact attacked another bus full of children and civilians in Yemen. On Wednesday, multiple Yemeni journalists reporting from on the ground confirmed the new airstrike, resulting in mass civilian casualties. This time, a Saudi-U.S. coalition strike scored a direct hit on a bus station in besieged Hodeidah. The strike occurred the same day Mike Pompeo announced that they certified the legality of U.S. assistance to the coalition in Yemen before Congress. Even NPR, of all people, have reported a long litany of instances of the coalition, quote, causing disproportionate civilian deaths in the Yemen conflict because of airstrikes that have hit markets, weddings, and even a bus carrying children from summer camp. The Red Cross identified the 40 children dead from the first major bus attack in Yemen's north on August 9th. And again, they seemingly always leave out the bus a week later of 22 children. That just gets ignored. The bus full of 40 clearly is brought to the attention because of our efforts forcing it through, and cartoons by Jim Carrey, and people forcing it into their consciousness. Clearly, again, only addressing that which they're forced to. Reports of this most recent bus bombing counted upwards of 15 men, women, and children among the dead, with many, many more wounded. We just read Pompeo's statement confirming his support for this authoritarian monarchy that is clearly, aggressively, and with impunity targeting civilians and children directly. But even Mattis just stated, quote, "I endorse and fully support Secretary Pompeo's certification to the Congress that the governments of Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates are making every effort to reduce the risk of civilian casualties and collateral damage to civilian infrastructure resulting from their military operations to end the civil war in Yemen." Not really a civil war, by the way, the same thing they say about Syria. That's their propaganda. This is an invasion, a U.S.-backed invasion of Yemen to take the port of Hodeidah. And understand that what we're talking about here is reducing the risk. Asking, oh, just please tone down how many children you kill on a daily basis so we can stop having to address it to the media and to the governments of the world that are pointing this out. Just tone it down a little bit. Really recognize what they're saying there. Pompeo and Mattis's certifications allow the Pentagon to continue fueling coalition jets and other areas of partnership such as intelligence sharing and on-the-ground assistance by the United States government. They both make these statements even as the United Nations has declared that Yemen is the worst humanitarian crisis in the world. Really, this is insulting to our intelligence that they continue to pretend this is not happening. We know better. We can see it. We have people there on the ground reporting this. And even if we didn't, what is really going on there has been forced to be addressed, even by the mainstream media. And yet they continue to say that they are doing their best, as if that should matter to us when they're killing children. And when Mohammed bin Salman himself has openly said that they're going to continue targeting children. But I guess we should just trust them, because they've never lied to us, huh? Moving on to the next story coming from Geopolitics Alert. This one entitled, United Nations Human Rights Council. Saudis fight back against report about targeting civilians in Yemen. Not very surprising now that they clearly have the backing of the United States, as they always have, but now openly stating that, oh, well, they're not doing anything wrong and they're trying their best. They're trying their best to stop killing children. And now they're fighting back against a report from the United Nations. The real point showing you that people, even on the world stage, are aggressively pointing this out, as the United States continues to aggressively lie about the situation on the ground. In his statement to the Council, Saudi Ambassador Abdulaziz Al-Wazil completely rejected the findings and conclusions of a recent report from the UN group of eminent experts, otherwise known as the GEE report. The GEE report accuses the United States-backed Saudi-led coalition of committing multiple violations against civilians in Yemen. The in-depth report highlights several cases of airstrikes deliberately targeting places where civilians are present. Deliberately, the key word. The report also covers numerous instances of torture and daily sexual abuse against children, women, and men throughout secret detention centers and other terrorist or territories under U.S.-backed Emirati control. Again, U.S.-backed, present at these locations, supervising, so they can stand back and say, well, we weren't involved. And understand that even the targets they're talking about deliberately hitting are being picked and helped and assisted by the United States, verifiably so. Now, however, the report fails to mention, of course, anything about the nearly 250,000 deaths from the U.S.-enforced, Saudi-imposed land and sea and air blockade, which has put 22 million of Yemen's 29 million population on the brink of famine. 22 million of 29 million on the brink of famine. Think about that. It's truly horrific to recognize what we're talking about here. Moving on to the next story, coming from activistpost.com. This one entitled, 3 California City Councils vote to stop installing 5G small cell towers. This is important. This is something I haven't covered enough. But the reality here is that this is being fought against, despite the effort, which should be empowering. So Mill Valley, San Anselmo, and Ross, California, are currently fighting against this. The City Council of Mill Valley, California voted unanimously to effectively halt installation of new small cell towers to accommodate 5G technology over health concerns. The urgency ordinance will bar applications for 5G towers while the city drafts a more permanent rule. The City Council has received 145 pieces of mail concerned about negative health impacts, according to TechCrunch, compared to just 5 letters in support of small cells. The concern is over the impacts of exposure to electromagnetic fields, although the small cell antennas for 5G emit less radiation than those used for 4G. Now, with the vote, Mill Valley became the 3rd community in Marin County to pass a similar ordinance following San Anselmo and Ross. Now, the next story, which is related, same ultimate story, but coming from Free Thought Project, pointing out that city blocks 5G cell tower implementation over claims that it can cause cancer, showing you that even these local governments are standing against what's happening, claiming even that it causes cancer, which is quite profound. So Mills Valley is the one we're talking about in California, is reacting to the overwhelming outpouring of concern, has taken an extreme step and blocked the technology from being implemented. Mill Valley, California is a wealthy city just north of San Francisco, which voted unanimously to effectively halt the installation of new small cell towers which carry the 5G technology. The city enacted an urgency ordinance, as we just pointed out, after it received over 100 letters from concerned citizens expressing their worries over the new 5G towers. Mill Valley residents cited multiple studies which claim that experts have found evidence that cell phone radiation can cause cancer, which most of us already know. But it's really profound to see this actually happening. And the real point to take away from all of this today is that we can affect change, even in things such as politics, which you know that I'm not a fan of and do not really support. But that shouldn't ward you away from actually taking part. As we can see, local, which is always the point, the decentralization, working inside from out, can make a difference. Even in regard to the foreign policy we're talking about and all the horrendous things happening around the world, we must continue speaking out, taking action online and in our daily lives every single day, because we can make a difference and we are making a difference. So for today, there will be a TLAV R&R, but it will be later. I have some personal business to attend to, so it will not be directly following this show. So tune in a few hours, and I will be back for the TLAV R&R. Thank you for tuning in today. Make sure you check out the independent sources in the show notes below and do the research for yourself. And as always, question everything. Come to your own conclusions. Stay vigilant.
ألحقت وحدات من الجيش العربي السوري خسائر بالأفراد والعتاد بين صفوف المجموعات الإرهابية المرتبطة بتنظيم جبهة النصرة المنتشرة بريفي إدلب وحما.
ألحقت وحدات من الجيش العربي السوري خسائر بالأفراد والعتاد بين صفوف المجموعات الإرهابية المرتبطة بتنظيم جبهة النصرة المنتشرة في ريفي إدلب وحما. وحدة من الجيش قضت برمايات مركزة على كامل أفراد مجموعة إرهابية تابعة لما يسمى كتائب العزة يتحصنون ضمن الجروف الصخرية ويقومون بعمليات قنص في أطراف بلدة المصاصنة بالريف الشمالي. وأوقعت وحدة من الجيش قتلى بين إرهابيي تنظيم جبهة النصرة ودمرت لهم 3 دشم أثناء قيامهم بأعمال تحصين وحفر خنادق في الأطراف الغربية لقرية تل واسط بالريف الشمالي. وفي ريف إدلب الجنوبي نفذت وحدة من الجيش عمليات مكثفة على مقرات وتحركات لتنظيم جبهة النصرة الإرهابي في أطراف بلدة التمانعة أسفرت عن تدمير مقر قيادة ومقتل جميع الإرهابيين بداخله. وتضم المجموعات الإرهابية المنتشرة في بعض قرى ريف حماة الشمالي وريف إدلب آلاف المرتزقة الأجانب غالبيتهم ينتمون لتنظيم جبهة النصرة وما يسمى الحزب التركستاني تسللوا من الأراضي التركية ويتلقون الدعم والتسليح عبر الحدود المشتركة من قبل أنظمة إقليمية وغربية.
كنا سعداء بهالزيارة. نحن لما بنجي بنقعد معكم مع عائلات الجرحى ومع الجرحى مع الناس شهداء، فنحن بنجي لحتى نستمد منكم أول شيء القوة والشجاعة، نتعلم منكم الوطنية. صحيح أغلب السوريين وطنيين، لكن قمة الوطنيين هو اللي مسك سلاح ودافع عن بلده. فمهما كنا وطنيين بنجي لعندكم لحتى نوصل للقمة. يمكن كل واحد فيكم يعتقد انه هو قام بواجبه. نحن بلقاءاتنا مع عائلات الشهداء ومع عائلات الجرحى ومع الجرحى دائما بيقولوا كلمة انه نحن قمنا بواجبنا. هذا كلام صحيح وهذا كلام بديهي، لكن الحقيقة انه قمتم بشيء اكبر بكثير من الواجب. إذا كتب تاريخ سوريا بشكل صحيح بيوم من الأيام سوف يقال بأنه كل واحد فيكم هو اللي غير خارطة العالم السياسية. فما حدا منكم بس كان عم يعمل واجبه، كان عم يكتب تاريخ. فنحن كثير فخورين بلقاء. بعتقد أي سوري وطني بيتشرف بأن يلتقي بجريح وبعائلة جريح وبعائلة شهيد. أتمنى تنقلوا تحياتي لكل عائلاتكم ومحبتنا وتقديرنا واحترامنا. شكرا لكم كثير على هالمحبة اللي الواحد يعني صعب يعبر عنها بالكلام. شكرا لكم.
اندلع حريق في حي الميدان جنوب العاصمة دمشق نجم عنه سحب من الدخان. وذكر مصدر في قيادة شرطة دمشق أن الحريق اندلع بعد ظهر اليوم في معمل لصناعة زيوت السيارات في بوابة حي الميدان جنوب دمشق. وأشار المصدر إلى أن سيارات فوج إطفاء دمشق توجهت إلى مكان الحريق وعملت على إخماده. مشاهدينا، وللمزيد حول هذا الموضوع ينضم لنا عبر الهاتف السيد اللواء حسين جمعة قائد شرطة محافظة دمشق. سيادة اللواء، لو تضعنا بصورة ما حصل.
حقيقة حريق بمستودع أو يعني مكان يستخدم ككراج متعارف عليه بالمنطقة باسم كراج الفن. يتم وضع أبوات أو براميل الزيت المحروق فيه كأمانات لإعادة مبيعها، إضافة كمان في عندنا زيوت مركبات. حدث الحريق يعني في المكان نتيجة وجود الكميات الكبيرة، يعني تقدر كمية الزيت المحروق الموجودة بحوالي 300 برميل، إضافة للأبوات من الزيت الجديد، يعني الزيت الصالح للاستخدام في المركبات. وهذا الأمر كما تعلم يعني الزيت لما خصوصي بعد ما يصير محروق هو حقيقة يستخدم احيانا كانوا يستخدموه للتدفئه، يعني بديل المازوت، فهو قابل للاشتعال وبسرعه، وبالتالي عم يكون في صعوبه بالسيطره عليه رغم وجود الاليات، يعني اليات كبيره وكثيره لفرع او لفوج اطفاء دمشق، اضافه للدفاع المدني مع تواجد طبعا الاسعاف وعناصرنا من جميع الاقسام والفروع موجوده. الحريق يعني هو ضمن مثل ما قلت لك الكراج والبيوت اللي حواليه، على اعتبار في محيط فيه بيوت قديمه حقيقه. حاليا تجري يعني محاولات للسيطره على الحريق بالتعاون ما بين فوج الاطفاء والدفاع المدني، للمكان. نحن قمنا بإخلاء المنازل المجاورة تماما للخراج من الأخوة المواطنين حفاظا على سلامتهم، وحاولنا قدر الإمكان حتى نخلي من المواد سريعة الاشتعال بالذات قراني الغاز حتى ما تكون كمان سبب آخر. والأمور يعني إن شاء الله بيكون الأحسن من خلال السيطرة التدريجية على المكان.
نعم، اللواء حسين جمعة قائد شرطة دمشق، شكرا لك على هذه المعلومات. مشاهدينا، إلى هنا نكون قد وصلنا إلى ختام النشر المحلي. دمتم بأمان الله، إلى اللقاء.
بوابة مدينة الحديدة، هذه هي الغارة. هاي سيارة هاي ممتلكات الطيران. هذه هي شاطرة تبع المواطنين. على بوابة مدينة الحديدة كما تشاهدون.
On September 13th, the Turkish Armed Forces, TAF, deployed several battle tanks and armored vehicles at their observation post near the town of Murak in northern Hama, according to reports by pro-militant sources. It was the first time the TAF deployed its heavy military equipment in this area. Pro-government activists link this deployment with attempts of the Turkish leadership to prevent an expected military operation of the Syrian Arab Army, SAA, and its allies against Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, formerly Jabhat al-Nusra, the Syrian branch of al-Qaeda, in the province of Idlib and nearby areas. The TAF has 12 observation posts in the so-called Idlib de-escalation zone. Many of them are located in the areas directly controlled by internationally recognized terrorist groups or close to these areas. On the same day, the SAA artillery carried out strikes on positions of Jaish al-Isa, a close ally of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, near Masana in northern Hama. Separately, artillery strikes hit an HQ of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham near El Tamana in southern Idlib, killing several militants inside it. Government troops also continued their operation against ISIS cells in the Homs Deir Azor desert. According to pro-government sources, the SAA further advanced along the road toward the T3 pumping station, seizing loads of weapons, medical supplies, satellite communication devices, and a vehicle left behind by ISIS members. On September 12th, in an interview with Fox News, U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, claimed that the U.S. and its allies are going to punish the Assad government not only for possible chemical attacks in Idlib, but for any attack which hits civilians. She also recalled allegations that the Assad government had already ordered the use of chemical weapons in the area. It should be noted that according to the Syrian-Iranian-Russian alliance, chemical attack provocations are being prepared by Idlib militants seeking to trigger a US-led military action against the Damascus government.